15, so we have a lot to get through today. So we'll get started. So thanks for everyone for joining. So the agenda for today is the same. We'll go over some questions. We do have some bug updates that we will review. We're going to spend the bulk of our time going over features and new functionality, and then we'll do a quick tip of the month before I show you all the features and functionality. So we had a couple of questions that came through to support this month. The first question was, what is the file size that can be attached to a plan? So we got a definitive answer, and it's 200 megabytes as a max. So I'm not sure if everyone's uploading large files, but we found out a definitive answer. And then we also had a question about uploading a user file from Excel into TransIT. And we just wanted to remind everyone just to check the headers match the order that they're listed in TransIT. So if you're not sure, you can just right-click the blue header and then download a template and then use that template for all of your information. And then just check that there's no data after your last row. So for example, if you have 10 users that you are uploading, just make sure that there's no information after that last entry. We have put in a fix where it will ignore any blank rows, but just a reminder to try and keep any information outside of the stuff that you want to import into TransIT free of anything. In terms of bug fixes this month, we fixed on the plans page the multi-reference list not sorting correctly. Inside of workflows, we fixed the start and end date that would display in a script. And you'll see a feature update regarding decision gateways once we get to it. We fixed an issue where quotes were displaying weird characters inside of your task boxes. We also fixed the custom columns with linking a custom reference list. It wasn't linking the correct reference list and allowing you to go into that reference list. We fixed adding a global module to a workflow, not retaining the actual module name. Pressing the enter key in the outcome field moves the cursor. Not sure how many people saw that, but that has now been fixed. And we fixed the multi-reference list not sorting correctly on the workflows dashboard page. In terms of modules, we fixed the view changes icon taking you to the home page. So it now takes you to the view changes for that specific module. You will notice inside TransIT, if you've been in there today, that all the view change icons are different. So we'll be able to have a look at that when we jump into TransIT in a little bit. A lot of work went into scripts over the last few weeks, so you'll see that there's some bug fixes and a lot of feature requests or enhancements that have been added to TransIT this month. So the find and replace only search the action column. It now searches the outcome column. We fixed the application not defaulting when you're inserting a workflow or module. We fixed some more code values when you're adding a step to the position, vendor, and application. The search box was searching with active and inactive rows inside a script, and now only searches active. We fixed the section filter in a functional script. We fixed the wording that stated hide global modules. It now says hide global workflows. We fixed the ability to search by workflow number when you're importing a script. So when you click your add workflow icon or right-click insert a workflow above, you can now search on the workflow number and the name. And we fixed the funnel icons not retaining the original step number. So when you start funneling and filtering on your scripts page, it will retain the actual step number for the script. In terms of the org settings, we fixed the vendor and application error when importing a global module if it didn't exist. So if you didn't have the vendor and application inside your org settings, it wouldn't let you put in your global module. We fixed the import from Excel, getting error messages when the blank rows are skipped. I mentioned that in the questions earlier above. And then we fixed adding a project. When you added a new project, it replaced the current state name with your new project. So we'll go over a couple of the bugs with some screenshots, and then we'll get into some of the new features inside of TransIT. So this one here, we just fixed up the workflow name here. So it did say modules, and now it says workflows. So just a minor display issue, but now it's not as confusing. And then inside of your script, I mentioned it earlier, when you use this funnel icon, so this one just here on any of the columns, you can see here that it retains the step number. So we go 1, 7, 8, 16, 17, and 23. Previously, it would just re-rank them 1 through to whatever number you have there. So if there's 6 steps, it would go 1 through to 6. So you can easily identify where that step is inside of your script. So we'll move along to the features, and there's a long list of features this month, and our development team has done a really fantastic job getting a lot of these features into TransIT. So I'll go over them right now just in bullet point form, and then once we do the tip of the month, I'll be able to jump into TransIT and show everyone all the new features. So on the home page, you'll notice that there is a new pane that is associated to plan. So it's in the bottom right-hand corner. So I'll be able to show you that. Right across TransIT, you'll see a common theme when you add a new workflow, plan, module, or script. You'll see that there's a new pop-up that populates on your screen and displays. We're moving towards those pop-ups instead of opening up a new page. So you'll see that that will be similar when you edit any of your content. So when you edit a workflow or you edit a plan, it will populate into that pop-up box, which I'll be able to show you. And then one that Patty will be really happy about, and I know she is, the ability to write a message when you're sending an email reminder. So when you right-click in a plan and you want to send a reminder for that activity or multiple activities, you can now write in a little message to those recipients. Workflows and scripts got the most of the work this month. So we added a toggle that allows users to flip between read-only and edit mode of a workflow. So when you click into a workflow now, you're in read-only mode, and then you have to then go into edit mode to be able to edit. We added the ability to view comments and attachments from the read-only mode. So if you wanted to go in there and just read the comments or add a comment, you don't have to then click the edit workflow icon. We added the ability to group elements in a workflow diagram. So I'll be able to show everyone that once we jump into TransIT. We've added the ability to download a PDF format of your workflow diagrams. We also removed the X from the decision gateways. So you'll see when you go into your workflows, all those X's have been removed. We also added read-only access to testers, so they can actually access and view the workflows inside of your organization. They can't get to edit any of those workflows. And we'll continue on with workflow. So as I mentioned, there's a new pop-up. So I'll be able to show you that. Maybe I'll just show it once, and then you'll get the understanding across TransIT. We also added the ability to create and edit modules from a workflow diagram. So this will significantly decrease the amount of time it takes to create content. And creating and editing your modules are so much easier now. You don't have to have multiple tabs open. You can just do it in the one screen. We added elements for incoming and outgoing workflows, so they can replace your start and end events. We also added icons for documents and reports. So they are just placeholders now. I believe that there's more functionality coming for those two elements inside your workflow diagram. We added the ability to use the multi-user custom columns on your workflow dashboard. We also added the ability to have more than one end event. We do recommend that you only have the one end event, but if you have to have two, then TransIT will accept that. We added the ability to filter and sort on all your custom columns on your workflow dashboard. Previously you weren't able to sort and filter, but now you can. We also added the alphabetical sort on categories. So when you add multiple categories to your workflow dashboard for a workflow or workflows, your display will be alphabetical order. So instead of just the order that you clicked the categories in. And then we moved uploading your workflow diagrams, which I'll show you, and you can actually replace the workflow diagram. So it's previously, before this feature went in, you were only able to upload it once. Now you can upload it multiple times, which is pretty great functionality. Again,
so can I just interrupt on that
Yep.
one? So where that's very useful is if somebody has screwed up your workflow diagram and you want to revert to a previous one, you just go to the changes for your workflow and find one you want to revert to, download it to XML, and then restore it that way. Sorry, Travis, go on.
No worries. The add module pop-up, so that's the same as the rest of the pop-ups. I'll show it once when we get into TransIT and you'll be able to see it. Scripts, we have removed the rose red color when the header details are missing. They've been replaced by a little stop icon, and they will be put inside the actual cell that is missing the header detail. So if it's in the action column, you'll see a little stop sign in the action column and in the outcome column, and I'll be able to go over that in a little bit more detail when we get into TransIT. It's a big change, but it helps you easily identify where you're missing your header details. We added the ability to add gateway labels. So by default, it's turned off, but if you wanted to add a step inside your scripts when you're importing a workflow, you can add a step for the gateways. We added a new script pop-up. So when you click add a new script icon, the functional and scenario script options look a little bit different. So I'll be able to show everyone that. We did deprecate the generate scripts page. So that's something different for the scenario. So previously, we recommended that when you're creating your workflow, so your script for your scenarios, you would create your story on your generate scripts page. That's being deprecated because it's so much easier just adding workflows and content into scripts now that you can create your story very easily inside scripts. We added the ability to filter on modules and workflow columns on the script steps page. We added the module name and number links for the individual workflows and modules inside your script, so you can actually see, you can actually click on that link and it will take you to the module workflow, and it will also give you a snapshot of what that module workflow looked like when it was imported into the script, and I'll be able to show everyone that when we jump into TransIT. The Excel file, when you download your script, now matches what is actually inside TransIT, including the script number as well. We added a radio button to choose where you want to add your image to a test step. So now you can choose whether you want it in your action or your outcome. We added a header detail icon. So it's the same icon as it was previously, but it just doesn't load up into a new page. It actually populates in a pop-up box in front of you, and it's very easy to add your values and add any missing header detail fields. We also added inline editing of scripts. So this is very easy to use. I'll be able to show everyone when we jump into TransIT, but it's very sleek. It's very easy to change your information and just tab across from left to right to change any details. The double-click edit step pop-up is not in TransIT at the moment. I believe it's coming back, Patty, is that right?
Sorry, what was that?
the edit step pop-up, is that
Yes.
coming back?
Yeah, so
Yeah.
edit steps is not available right now. It'll be coming back fairly soon.
Yep. And then we added the ability for admins to review your org settings from within your script. So I'll be able to show everyone that. And then on the issues page, you can now clone issues. You can actually toggle a checkbox. If you're creating an issue and you want to go into that issue and add more details, you can use the checkbox and go into the issue. And then we added the vendor and application to the new issue dialog box so that you can select your vendor and application without having to go into that issue. We added a toggle for active and deleted archive projects. So this is right across TransIT. So when you right click and you change project, you'll see a radio toggle that you can toggle from active to deleted projects and differentiate between the two. And I'll be able to show you that. And then the search box display improvements, I'll be able to show everyone that it's basically the same, but it's just changed a little bit. So we'll jump into TransIT and we'll go over all the changes. So you can see here on the bottom right-hand corner, you've got the plans pane. So this will populate all of the assigned activities that you have within your organization. And it's based on the start date of today or before, and if it's assigned to you and it's not 100% completed. So if all those three criteria match, then your plan will populate here. If one of those three is done, so let's say it's 100% completed, it will drop off on your list. You could also click this link at the bottom here and it will take you to your plans dashboard page. So when we go into plans, and this is right across TransIT, so I'll show it once and then I won't have to show it again. When you click your add plan icon, the pop-up box comes up and now you can easily change or you can easily add a plan. This is the same for when you want to edit a plan. So if I want to right click and edit a plan, the pop-up box comes up. So that's right across TransIT now when you add or edit an item inside of TransIT. And then the ability to write a message inside of, we'll pick on Tamara. So email assigned, and we can say, hi, Tamara, can you please action this step? And then Tamara will now get an email from TransIT with that message inside it. So I know Patty's really happy about that. I know she's missed that functionality for quite a while.
Yes, I have.
So there's that one. And then we'll move across to workflows. So again, the add workflow icon, you have your information here. We've added the ability to add a customized column for your multi-user on the workflow dashboard page. I won't show you that, but it's basically the same as an assign to, but you can select multiple users. We've added the ability to filter and sort on all customized columns. So you can see these two here are customized columns, and you can see here you've got a filter and a sort. So anytime you create a customized column on your workflow dashboard, you'll be able to filter and sort on them. And then the category here, if we go in and pick on this one here, if I go and select multiple categories, doesn't matter what order I select them in, they will then display in alphabetical order, where it was based on which ones you selected first in order of your clicks. So once we jump into this workflow here, you'll see that you can't click anywhere because you're in read-only mode. To get into edit mode, you need to click the edit workflow icon. And then once we click on there, you can see that I'm able to then go and edit. If I want to move back to the read-only mode, I can click on the view workflow and it will take me back to the read-only. Over here, you've got your little comments box, so we can put our comment or any attachments that we want. So if you didn't want to go into your workflow and you're just reviewing it and there was no changes, you could type any messages in here without having to go multiple steps in to see your comments. The testers, as I mentioned, will have access to this view only, so they won't be able to go into edit mode. They'll be able to see the actual workflows. And then to upload your workflow diagram. So as Patty said, if we wanted to revert this back to a different version, or we started a new workflow and we have a diagram, we click our three dot icon up here, and we click replace the workflow, and then we upload our workflow diagram. So just an FYI, if you are creating a new workflow and you want to import your diagram, you need to create the workflow. And then once you come to this page, you then need to use this icon and use the replace workflow, where previously it was on the add workflow page. So we'll go into the edit mode, and you'll see here that there's some new icons on the left-hand side. This one over here is the grouping. So we can select the group icon and we can resize it. And then we can add some information, group demo, and then we can actually move it around so that it's not in the way of our workflow. And then this gives you a visual representation that these are grouped and linked. To download your workflow into a PDF, all the downloads are here. For your download icon, the PDF is just here, and then obviously it'll save to wherever you've got your, wherever you want to save it on your computer. The connectors, you've got your outgoing and your incoming, sorry. You would then click on these ones here, and you're able to use the gear icon on the bottom right to link a workflow. So we can select a workflow, and we can remove the start event, and we can relink it up, and that will give everyone an idea that this workflow starts with bills claims and then moves on to this one, and then we can add a outgoing workflow, and we can link it to a different workflow, and we can remove our end event, and we can link it up again to our end event. And then we also have our report and our document elements here. These you can't link up anything at the moment, but it's a visual representation, and I believe there's more functionality coming around these ones. So, for example, if this is sign a document, you can replace that task box with the document, or let's say it's a off-page reference to a document. You can always add your note in here saying off-page document signing required, and then you can add it to your workflow as well. And I know Patty will get a little upset with me not having it all linked up nice and neatly, but I want to get through everything today. We'll move across to scripts. So when you add a new script, this is the new pop-up box here. So you can select functional or scenario, and it will automatically populate the new screen. We're actually going to do a functional today. And then we can type in our name and our description. And then we can select our category and click save. And then you'll see here that you've got your view changes icon that has been changed right across TransIT. That you'll need to just be a little bit mindful of that because you might be looking for the old icon. When we import a workflow, you'll see that you can search via the name, and we'll add a facility in as well. And this option here is defaulted off, but if I wanted to add any steps for my decision gateways, I can hover over that and it'll give you an example. If I wanted to add an extra step in for those decision gateways, I would use this checkbox. I'm not going to, and I'm going to hit save. So then you can see here that the rose red has been disappeared, and you'll see that you have these stop sign icons all over the place. They are indicating that there's a header detail missing from the action or outcome. And the way you would update it is you would click on your header detail icon up on the top right-hand corner. This pop-up displays, and you can click anywhere in here and update any of this information. So if we wanted to do patient name, we can add it in here, and we can go through and you can click and enter and tab through and change any of this information very easily. And then we close it, and you'll be able to continue on your way with whatever you're doing. The inline editing works the same. So if I double click on position, you'll see that it highlights. If I tab through, I can tab through each of the individual boxes on the row. If I wanted to, let's say change this position, I can double click it. I can change the position and then keep tabbing through, and I'll be able to update anything that I would like to do. If I wanted to add an image to a step, I would right click the step, and then I would go and select the add image. And you can see here that there's a radio button here that you can choose whether or not you want the image to go into the action or the outcome. Whichever one you choose, it will obviously then go into the action or the outcome. And the last thing on the scripts page is this little icon here. This will only populate for admins, and this will give you an easy access to your org settings. So on functional scripts, you'll have your sections. On your scenario, the sections won't be here. But let's say you wanted to switch on a position that was marked for deletion, or there's not a position that's inside your script that you want. You would click on position, and it will bring up your information from your org settings. So you would scroll through and find the position that you would like to change. And I don't know if Patty has any that are not marked for deletion. So let's say this one was marked for deletion and we wanted to use it. We would come through and check it, and then it would be available for you. You can also add your position by clicking the add position icon, and then add your position, and then it would be available for that script, and it would get added to your org settings as well. So that's the same for applications. Yep.
If you're a user and not an admin, you still have access to the sections part. So if you're creating a functional test script, you can add your own sections. You don't need the admin to do that for you.
Right. So that's just an easy access point instead of having to go to the org settings and then add your information, then come back to your scripts page. And then on the issue page, to clone an issue, you would select the issue and right click. And then we have this clone functionality here. You can then update any of the information here and click create, and it will clone that information for you and repeat it, so you don't have to then repeat the same issue. So you might have a similar issue that you don't want to have to rewrite everything. You can then clone it and be able to just tweak it however you want. And then at the bottom here, you have your checkbox for go to issue after you create. So if you wanted to do that, you could click it and then click create, and it will take you directly to that issue, rather than going to the issue dashboard and then clicking into it. The toggle for active and inactive projects, I'll just go into a module. When we go to change projects, so I select one or multiple modules, I select change project. And you can see here, you've got your active and deleted projects. So the active projects will have all of your projects inside your org settings that aren't marked for deleted. And then if you toggle to your deleted, you'll find you'll have your deleted, your archive, and any projects that you have in your deleted. And the last thing, and I got it all in, is this search box here. It used to be a white search box underneath the breadcrumb. The search box is now next to the breadcrumb. So you'll see on the modules page, when you go to a scripts page, it's a little smaller. It still works the same. It's just visually not taking up as much real estate as what it did in the past. So we have a minute left. Does anyone have any questions, comments, concerns? That's a lot of information to throw at everyone. Great. Thanks everyone for joining and have a great rest of your Friday.
Thank you, Trav.
Travis.
Thanks, Travis.
Thank you.